start getting pretty. Gotta look my best if we're gonna break up. Gotta look my best.
I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, Velocities and Music. You take those glasses off, because this is going to be a fun review, guys. Every once in a while, we get to do really, really anti-music nerd music, which this is actually the second most voted for album. We're gonna
which is why we're doing it.
Yeah, this was voted for. This was popular choice. So every set that we do every 2 weeks, we're going to put up a list. And at Facebook or Twitter, you guys can vote on albums. This is Britney Spears' new album, Femme Fatale. It was voted. You guys wanted to see it, so we listened to it and reviewed it. And I'm really glad that you guys picked it, because guess what? I actually liked it. Now, before we go crazy about this, Tom, I want you to say some research-oriented notes on this album.
Here's the deal. Go look up the credits of this album, because songwriting credits, you won't find the name Britney Spears. Production credits, engineering, everything, you won't find the name Britney Spears. Her role in this album was pretty much show up and sing, and slightly like...
She's the brand.
Yes,
She's
exactly.
And I mean, Britney Spears brand.
She did get to kind of, from what my understanding of my research is that she did kind of get to oversee what was allowed to happen, what songs went on the album. You know, I mean, she has that kind of a role, but still, behind even those choices, there's a team of record label people there to pat her on the back or go, no, no, no.
Right.
So, you know, for me, a musician who writes, performs, records, produces, engineers, mixes, and masters my own music, I have a bit of a moral issue with that.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to get that out of the way, but I also want to make clear that that doesn't change the sounds you're hearing on this album, which is what we're grading. So instead of grading it on that and just saying, well, Britney Spears didn't do anything, I'm going to give this a 2, you know, instead of doing that, just know that when I harp about like the lyrics and when she says, I got 9 lives like a kitty cat and I'm over in the corner vomiting, when that happens, then you have to give some of the blame to Britney Spears, but most of the blame for the songwriters who thought that was okay to write.
Guys, I'll take this a step further. I really want to say, I don't think you should put any. Why are you giving her credit? First of all, Britney Spears is a brand by this point. She did some really colossal things at the beginning of the late '90s and the early 2000s that changed music and created a brand. And there's been a whole. If you follow popular culture at all, you've had to have seen how bad of a situation she got herself in, and has been clawing her way up. And with the rise of Lady Gaga, she's had to compete that, and that's what she's doing here, because the sound of this album is very electronic. And we'll get into that in a second. But my point is yes, she shouldn't get any credit for writing this. That doesn't change the fact that this is still music. Now, just because it's called Britney Spears doesn't necessarily mean that this is Britney Spears' music. It is still a body of music. It is still an album that we get to view and listen to, and take it for that. For what it is. But I wouldn't go as far as to say that you can really blame this. And I know some people are especially people who are more, you know, attached to the writing process and production, you can hold that against her, to quote the shitty lyric. And I understand that, and I think you're fully justified, but I'm just saying that if you can, don't let that sway you to the point that you can't appreciate some of the good things that are here. Realize that this is a corporate engineered album to make money. And what I think is cool about that is that, yes, since she didn't write any of her own lyrics, it was still able to it was for a certain audience. It was for certain ways. I like a lot of her vocal parts on this album. I think a lot of the processing that they put on her vocals sounds very cool. It fits in with the electronic elements that are going on. A lot of the different beats and a lot of the different just sonic textures that you're hearing. I think that does a great job, and it made these songs catchy. They even did a little experimentation. Yes. Okay. Try not to make up too many words. We're getting a lot of crap for that. With song structures, you know, you get a little variance in there. There is a predominant A-B Bieber chorus thing, but it's growing. It's not all the time, and I appreciate that. Now, the electronic sound textures that you hear, I think, are just drop dead gorgeous. 95% of the time on this album. I think there's a couple spots where it gets a little flubby, but overall, this is, if you like electronic music, this is something that you just need to listen to. It's fun. And if you have headphones that are of high quality, you're gonna love this album. This album is just crazy. You know, I cringed for a while on some of the bad lyrics because they're pretty dismal.
They're abominable.
Yeah.
They really are.
But, you know, if you can kind of glaze over and just get through it, the crappy lyrics, I mean, I think you can really appreciate some of the other aspects of this sound. This is, I read a review out there that quoted this, or I'm kind of quoting that review as saying that this is kind of a producer's delight. And I totally see that. If you like production, there's a lot of cool things to note. Now, you'll probably find some aspects of it that are over the top and crazy, but that's what they wanted it to be. It's Britney Spears, for Christ's sake. That's what they do. I mean, this is an album to shock and awe you and to sell records to people who listen to the radio.
And what I read is that what Britney was really going for was an album that you could listen to with your friends when you're on the way to the clubs or the bars. And that's exactly what this is.
This is club music.
Yeah, that's exactly what this is. It's like club hit after club hit. And while...
But high quality.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I'm not going to give this a ridiculously high score, but I'm not going to give it as low as other albums like that, because at least it's honest about that. Now, that's still a very limiting goal to aim for, because honestly, I mean, I've never been a Britney Spears fan by any means, but still, even some of her main singles from the early 2000s were ballads, and they were actually decent ones, and you don't get any of that here. It's all that dance feel, and that dance production is very good on here, but, you know, they're not aiming too high, is what I'm saying, and that... You know, for that reason, they can only take it so far, and I think they take it about to the max of what they could have.
And maybe even a little too far. I feel like this does get a little predictable at the end just because of what you're saying. There's not enough variety here to really give it any spice. You don't really get any change in the general format until the very last track, which is much more like her previous work, her earlier work. And honestly, it doesn't fit with the album, though, so I don't think that they did it tactfully. And I feel like a couple of these tracks, Tom, I know you and I were talking, that they're just not quite, it's minor track displacement, they're not quite as strong as some of the others, and to me, that would knock this album probably in like the upper 50s of range, where like there's some bad things here that need to be worked out for this to be a good album. But overall, I gotta say, guys, some of these songs are so damn catchy and fun to listen to. It's jacking the score up for me. It's counterbalancing the negative.
And one thing I want to address also, you talked about some of the vocal effects, and the spots where those are there, they are well placed and well executed. But one thing I was actually surprised at, I heard a lot of people saying, "Oh, Britney Spears' new album, it's just auto-tune crap the whole time." Honestly, no. No, I just didn't get that at all. Honestly, I think her vocal performance is pretty good, and even
it's processed.
Yeah, even if I mean,
but that's not auto-tune.
Exactly, there is a difference, and the thing is, well, I think people have as a music producer, people have the wrong idea of what auto-tune actually means.
Right.
I mean, there's a difference between that Akon digitized sound and just slight effects. I even heard someone say about a track that they thought it was auto-tuned. And actually, this was from How to Destroy Angels, Trent Reznor's new project. Someone was like, "Is there auto-tune on this track?" And they were like, "No, it's just heavy reverb."
Right.
I mean, people confuse those two. Yeah. So, I mean, you have to get your terminology correct about these things, guys, because honestly, I thought Britney's singing on this was pretty good.
Right.
And the way it was produced, the way it was presented is honestly commendable, I would say.
It complements the synth songwriting.
Yes.
That's what it does. The electronics complement the vocals, and that's something I like.
That is one place I'll say, well done, Britney. All my other compliments,
well done, Britney. Well done, Britney.
Production team. Well, no, that's what I'm saying is her actual singing is pretty good, and I'll give her credit for that. What's good songwriting there is, I'll say good job to her songwriters, and what bad songwriting there is, I'll say no. No songwriters, no. And no Britney for actually letting them put that crap on there.
I'm giving this a 71.
I'm going to give it a 67. It's actually pretty decent.
For those of you who are brave enough to actually check out Femme Fatale, we're really interested to what you think about this album. If you saw that it had any redeeming qualities, or if you're willing to just say, hey, I don't care if they blah blah blah. If she didn't write it, then it's automatically crap. I really think you have a good argument there. I'm just choosing to listen to the music. And so we'd love to talk to you guys about this. So leave us a comment. www.velocitiesmusic.com, youtube.com/velocitiesandmusic. Check out Ian's Tumblr page with written reviews and blog stuff. VIMTV.tumblr.com, and please follow us on Twitter. We are VIMTV. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
Velocities and Music, moving music critique forward.